So the Xbox Showcase this year was really a solid showing from Microsoft and Xbox to show all of the games they have coming in the pipeline this year. They came out swinging and they were carrying the big guns for this showcase. Games like Doom: The Dark Ages, Perfect Dark, Gears E-Day, South of Midnight, you name it, and people loved it. People ate it up. And so did I, honestly. I won't sit here and pretend that I haven't been very public about my disgust and distaste towards Xbox and Microsoft, but this show was really good. It really impressed me. It was as good, if not better, than the 2023 show. It pretty much met my expectations. The only thing that could have taken this showcase above and beyond my expectations would have been something like the Oblivion remaster or the Fallout 3 remaster that had been long rumored before the showcase started. But overall, I was very impressed. I was very happy with it. I'm glad that I got to react live to it with all of you guys. It was a ton of fun. If any of you guys missed my live reaction to the Xbox Showcase, you can click on a link to it, which is going to show up somewhere on the screen here. You can also check the description down below, and I'll leave a link to my live reaction stream for the Xbox Showcase, which was just, again, a ton of fun. So you guys, if you're curious to see what my live reactions were to some of the announcements, definitely consider checking that out. Leave a like on it, obviously, if you enjoy, and leave a like on this video too if you enjoy this. This is kind of a different format. I don't really have a script here that I'm following. I'm just gonna kind of free flow this whole thing. So if you guys enjoy, definitely consider leaving a like on this video. Consider subscribing as well if you're new to the channel. But yeah, let's get right into it. So the first game that I absolutely have to start with here is Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, unfortunately, the game did leak before the showcase, so we already kind of knew supposedly that it was going to follow a medieval setting and kind of style and tone, and that it would essentially be a sort of prequel to Doom 2016, and that's exactly what it ended up being. But despite all of the leaks and knowing about it beforehand, man, this trailer kicked ass. It really surprised me, which it shouldn't have, because I mean, this is id Software we're talking about, right? I mean, this game looks absolutely incredible. But yes, going back to what I mentioned earlier, it is a prequel to Doom 2016, so we're actually going to, for the first time, get to see the origins of the myth of the Doomslayer. The game has awesome visuals thanks to id Tech, which continues to show, again, just how impressive id Tech as a graphics engine continues to be. The graphics team, whoever handles the id Tech engine over at id Software, you guys are wizards. There was a crazy arsenal of weapons that they showed in the trailer, including, obviously, the trademark super shotgun, but it's now accompanied by a chainsaw shield, a machine gun that crushes skulls and shoots out their fragments as projectiles, which is absolutely insane and utterly ridiculous. Like, who comes up with an idea like that? A flail weapon as well, and a heavier focus on melee and close quarters combat overall. Also, you can control giant mechs, ride cyber dragons. Everything about this game stunned me, and the wait for 2025 when this game launches is going to be an agonizing wait. I need this game now, id Software. This looks incredible. The next game that really stood out to me, and this is one that I've been very quietly excited about for a while, is South of Midnight. It was announced last year with a really cool trailer with like a really unique animation style. And this year, we got our first look at gameplay, and the gameplay looks really fun. First things first, though, we have to, again, talk about the art direction and this not quite stop motion like animation that they seem to be copying from animation studios like Laika, who infamously made Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings, I believe is what it's called. They made several kind of stop motion-y films that this is obviously drawing a ton of inspiration from. I am absolutely in love with the southern Louisiana bayou setting. I think it's really unique. to have a video game take place in this setting. Just as well, there's a really unique take here on Southern folklore too. I mean, giant catfish. The music was great. The atmosphere was on point. The gameplay looks incredibly smooth. The combat is really evocative of stuff like God of War and other third-person action games. The traversal looks to be super fun as well, and there's a lot of platforming elements incorporated, as we could see at the very end. Now, this is a game that unfortunately won't be coming until next year. I say let Compulsion Games cook, because this game looks awesome. But it's going to be a pattern. Games releasing a year or two from now seems to be a recurring pattern throughout this showcase, and we'll get into that a little bit further with my other highlights from the show. But myself personally, having never played a single game from Compulsion, this one immediately has my interest in so many ways. It's not even funny. Like, the game really looks very unique as a third-person action game. It looks really cool. Fun fact, Compulsion's founder and the CEO of the company, I hope I'm not butchering his name, apologies if he ends up watching this, Guillaume Provost, hopefully I pronounced that right. He was a former Arcane Studios member. When the company was still just barely starting out in their infancy and they were pitching projects, specifically, he helped to pitch The Crossing, and he was also involved in the development of The Crossing. Anyone who follows Arcane Studios or is as well versed in the studio's history as I am should know that that's really important to note. So he hasn't been with Arcane obviously for a while. Knowing that Mr. Provost was a Arcane Studios veteran, that pretty much shot this game up to the top of my most anticipated list. I cannot wait to play South of Midnight next year. The next highlight from the showcase for me personally was shockingly Perfect Dark and the gameplay reveal of that title that has long been in gestation and supposedly development hell for a very long time. Now look, I've made no secret of the fact that I felt the initiative was really kind of burning through their development budget and their time trying to make this game and work on it since it was announced I don't even know how long ago. And also just due to the reporting that I mentioned earlier about the game supposedly being in development hell. However, I'll be the first to say that I'm so happy I was proven wrong, because Perfect Dark is also landing on this list because it captures so much Deus Ex energy and vibes. I'm really curious to see what sort of immersive sim elements, if any, are going to be in Perfect Dark. They have a cyberpunk style down to a T. There's a lot of gameplay systems and mechanics that we saw in this short little snippet of gameplay that if I didn't know any better, I would have thought they had lifted these right out of titles like Deus Ex, Mirror's Edge. We saw a little bit of parkour. Voice manipulation is such a cool idea for a game mechanic, and the application of that mechanic goes far beyond the small little bits and pieces that we caught during that gameplay trailer. But it's a really I can't wait to use that. Voice manipulation seems really cool. Graphically, also very impressive, much like everything else that we had seen in the showcase up to this point. The combat looks super slick and stylish, and it evokes a lot of action films like The Matrix and John Wick specifically, and the animation work during hand-to-hand combat in particular is incredible, super smooth. My faith in the initiative was very shaky before this announcement, but seeing this, in addition to knowing that Crystal Dynamics, the team behind the recent Tomb Raider games, is helping with development, that just makes me that much more intrigued. Again, we don't have a concrete release window for this game, so we're still gonna have to wait a little while, but I have a lot more faith in the initiative and Crystal Dynamics, and I say just let them cook on this one because it looks really impressive. I was very pleasantly surprised by this showing. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, obviously my most anticipated game of 2024 and should hopefully still be releasing this year. They only gave us a window of just coming in 2024, so hopefully that doesn't mean that we should expect a delay. We also got some brand new gameplay with combat, puzzle solving, a new cutscene too, which honestly just goes to show how perfectly Machine Games captured the tone of the films, as evidenced by this cutscene. I mean, we've got a cartoonish villain, we've got moments of subtle and not so subtle humor, and another another graphical showstopper, and this game is also running on id Tech, just like Doom: The Dark Ages. I have to also highlight that Troy Baker is doing such a good job impersonating a young Harrison Ford. Like, his performance as Indiana Jones is almost indistinguishable from Harrison in the original trilogy. Like, he's that good. This game also does represent an opportunity for Machine Games to really show everybody what they're capable of in terms of first-person action and gripping storytelling, and it really just kind of signifies their chance to be catapulted potentially into the limelight and gain major success off of this title, because Indiana Jones is such a huge IP. Of course, anyone who has already played their Wolfenstein games, we already know just how talented Machine Games is, but working on a popular IP as beloved and iconic as Indiana Jones, that's going to bring Machine Games a lot more attention and hopefully a lot more acclaim. That's what I'm hoping for. Nothing more I can really say about this game that I haven't already said at this point. It looks fantastic, and I am excited to play it this year. Again, hopefully, because no solid release date at the end of the trailer does make me wonder if they're anticipating a delay. Finally, my last highlight of the Xbox showcase this year was easily the biggest surprise reveal of the show for me personally, and that was Gears of War E-Day. It was such an incredible CGI trailer, and it brought back for me a lot of the same vibes from the original Mad World trailer for the first Gears of War back in the day. They even used the Mad World song again, but they remixed it, and they somehow managed to make it even more emotional, even more sad, even more depressing. A young Marcus Phoenix in the trailer is struggling against a single locust drone, which kind of had me scratching my head at first because it's so traditionally uncharacteristic of him. This is a video game protagonist who can hold his own. No doubt about that. Seeing Dom again, also very young like Marcus, made me borderline emotional, as it brought back so many memories of playing through the original Gears trilogy years ago. At that point in the trailer, I honestly didn't know what to think. I wasn't even positive that this was the supposed Gears Remastered collection, which would be similar to the Halo Master Chief collection. The Coalition takes the original trilogy of Gears of War, remasters it, packages it in one game, and I knew for a fact that there was no way this could be Gears 6 because we're seeing a young Marcus and a young Dom. So while I was reacting to this live, I was just thinking in my head, what on earth could this possibly be? The last thing that I expected was that the Coalition would be making a prequel to the original Gears of War as the next mainline entry in the series. To be honest though, I'm so ready to see the story of Emergence Day fully told, as even though we've seen flashbacks to that period of time, this does present an interesting opportunity for the Coalition to return to the series' roots, both figuratively and literally. We're hopefully going to see the Coalition with Gears E-Day focus a lot more on the horror of humanity facing off against the Locust Horde for the first time, in addition to just kind of the general real grime and grit that specifically the first Gears of War game had. As a longtime fan of the series, I am very excited to see what the story of this game is going to end up looking like, and seeing the focus on Marcus and Dom again just brought out all of my childlike enthusiasm. The trailer, also important to note, was running in-engine on Unreal Engine 5 using in-game assets, and the full game really does have the potential to look almost exactly like this trailer, which is mind-blowing. We've now gotten to a point where graphics technology has gotten so advanced that if developers are skilled and talented enough, they can make cutscenes and gameplay look completely indistinguishable from each other, and that's what I'm expecting with this game. Once again, another game shown at the showcase with no release window, but the Coalition has earned my trust with the Gears IP, so I say, once again, let them cook for as long as they need, because I am very excited for Gears of War E-Day. I can't wait to see what the Coalition cooks up with this one. It's going to be something really special. So those were my top 5 personal highlights from the Xbox showcase this year, but as I wrap up this video, I think it's important that I also cap this off with something that needs to be said. We can be excited about all of these games that were shown off, but I'm already seeing people forget or just move on far too quickly from the news of the recent studio closures. And this is what I hate about the gaming zeitgeist, which is that generating hype will almost always overshadow any sort of ongoing drama in the industry. What I really would love to see is for people to remember that the Xbox leadership team just closed down 4 studios, 2 of which were and still are incredibly close to my heart. And I will never be able to reconcile both my excitement for the games that are being worked on by the developers underneath Xbox with my utter disgust towards the executives and the Xbox brand, which has been heavily tainted by the unacceptable and short-sighted decision to close Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog Games, and Roundhouse Studios. We need to remember these names because Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond are going to continue on. They're going to keep their jobs and their livelihoods, all the while pretending like these studios never even existed in the first place, and that the people working at these studios just lost their livelihoods and their ability to earn a living in a time where everyone is struggling just to get by every single day. So yes, my feelings about the showcase and the studio shutdowns are not mutually exclusive. I feel completely different emotions about each subject that are so far removed from each other on the emotional spectrum. Xbox has been a series of highs and lows over the past few years, and I have no reason to think that the Xbox brand won't continue to be that way. However, I am more than optimistic about the hardworking developers and their passion projects underneath the Xbox banner. You know, the people who are actually making the damn games that we're playing, and not the greedy executives and shareholders who only care about the bottom line and nothing else. Anyway, that's my rant over and done with. The TLDR is that the showcase was great, and I'm still pissed at Microsoft and Xbox, and I will continue to be that way for a long time yet. But now I am going to throw it over to you guys. What did you think about the Xbox showcase this year? Did it exceed your expectations? Which games were your personal highlights of the show? Are you still upset with Xbox closing Arcane Austin and Tango, or have you already moved on and forgiven them? Leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more coverage of upcoming games from Xbox, please leave a like on the video and share the video with anyone who might be interested in the content that I create here. Join our official Discord server where you can chat with our amazing community here to talk about all things gaming related. Consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and also consider becoming a channel member to support future content on this channel, all the while gaining access to some really cool perks. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and remember that the outsider walks among us. I'll see you all next time.